Blanc as well. A lot of power hitters there. Assassination potential taken off the board from SKT.
I think, you know, we're going to have to see a big game from Condi. I think jungle is just so big, and this is the star of the team. You know, he had some very good games throughout the tournament already. I need to see him getting an advantage, I think, and enabling his lanes, buying them time for Mystic to kind of get going.
And there's been games where junglers have gotten on top of Peanut and they forced Blank into the lineup. They forced some defense, and in a best of one, with how good Condi has been on his day, I completely agree. I think back to Haru completely rolling over Peanut in the second SKT versus Samsung game of the season. Is, well, Peanut, that is not a fighter. That is Ivern from Peanut, and there has only been a single Ivern game by any team in the LCK that was score on KT roster, and our second one happens from, of all people, Peanut.
I mean, you gotta say that we just talked about it, the lack of ego, the willingness to step back and say, you know what, I can have faith in Bang to carry. I mean, if you pick Karma or Lulu or something, like if you can get a Karma mid for Faker, like Bang is one of the best AD carries, if not the best, in my opinion, in the whole world.
Whoa. All right.
Okay, we're going to crazy score in terms of the junglers now, as we have the Kindred locked in on the side of WE. Peanut is so bloodthirsty. This is going to be such a change of pace. It's going to be another learning point when it comes to jungle picks.
Hang on, we see. That is not valid. They have called it before the pick. Obviously, it was made by SKT as well, or their next pick, so it does not solidify in. They are notifying the refs as of right now. We'll see what they say.
Get some information about the draft shortly then.
All right, we're going to be remaking lobby up to the pick of Ivern on the side of Peanut. Condi's pick is not the Kindred. We kind of thrown back on there. We've seen the Elise be so huge for them, but talking about that Ivern.
I was so excited. I love Kindred.
Getting it away from the Lulu. Pretty big as well.
But my excitement is not tempered.
No.
Peanut played one style through the course of his time on Najin as a very young rookie, onto then the Ku, Rocks, Tigers. He was an aggressive jungler. He didn't have a team around him on Najin that he did on the Rocks, who empowered him. And when he initially stepped onto SKT, there were times where he would gank bot lane when Bang and Wolf were trying to freeze waves, and literally Wolf and Bang wouldn't help him with the gank. Such was the level of disconnect between the two. That time has changed, but this is taking it to the nth degree. This is actually going to be a game that shows some of the development of Peanut, because he's been stuck on Rengar, Lee Sin, Graves. They're very much meta fighter junglers, and Ivern is so different.
He really is, and I think even more so there's the pressure on Condi now to be successful, because when an Ivern falls flat, it really falls flat. I mean, we had quite a bit of Ivern in NA, and when we had these carry-style junglers switching over, some of them had some pretty awful performances, because if you fall behind, you're pretty worthless. You can never duel, you can't keep yourself safe, and you are vulnerable to the invades. You need to be comfortable on this champion.
I mean, honestly, you hear you can never duel, and that's the sort of thing that Peanut would definitely just, that would be kind of knives to his ears. He would never want to hear that he couldn't get out there and mess up the other jungler, but it's only going to be through taking camps, not going to necessarily be about any solo kill pressure. So it is a really big curveball by SKT, but if they pull this off, then any comp is possible for them. We thought already that was likely to be the case.
That's a good point.
But this was definitely one that I did not see coming.
And it wouldn't surprise me if he can play this at the highest level. SKT has always been a team that tries to be flexible, run all kinds of compositions. When you look to Worlds last year, they were able to run disengage comps, they could run poke comps, they could run standard tank engage comps, they can run anything, and they can play it better than you.
And that's why all the people that are like, wow, Huni can play tanks, I never saw it coming. Well, guess what? Tanks are usually a lot simpler to play than some of the champions that Huni could play. It was just about temperament. You got to say, though, Ivern is very different in terms of
massively
playstyle.
different.
I think of, say, Bengi and his Nunu, I'm like, okay, I'm sure you can play Ivern. It's very much about a single thing. Peanut, again, because he's so much, it was the battle ward. That was about killing, tracking enemy jungler through threat. And certainly, there are elements of battle ward here from the Ivern, and okay, Kindred Dream is dead.
There's your
Rengar is
pick.
a lot more standard of a response in terms of the Ivern, because he just wants to power farm to 6.
So we do see what Condi actually wanted in this one, and we were talking about how WE kind of needs a force. Well, they put one on the map already with Rengar, as well as having the Lulu for him late game if he does get going. Xie is going to pick up the Karma to start things off.
I think this makes a lot of sense, especially because Karma, is something that works exceptionally well in combination with the Ivern. If you want to run, a Twitch perhaps, protect the AD carry comp for Bang, that could be very strong. But this is also definitely going to be that sort of comp. So I'm expecting SKT to perhaps ban out some of these carry marksmen.
But then you see Nami being locked in, and you're like, wait, that goes pretty well with a backline marksman as well.
This could be Twitch versus Kog'Maw.
Honestly, come on, let's be real. Both of us want them to just have a temporary alliance here when it comes to not banning AD carries and just have artillery on both sides. The gentleman's agreement, I think, is going to be violated. Let's be real, but that would definitely be the most hype, because suddenly you look at SKT and like, okay, not much access to the back line. You're going to have a hyper carry, and we've got double support, something that's been denied from basically every team this week on the side of WE, so they're both strapping in for hyper carry.
The truce is on so far.
Oh,
Jay's
baby.
the first ban. Just keep
3 more,
praying.
please.
It's a hope and a dream.
Teams.
Oh, there's one.
Well,
Lucian gets taken out.
Well, this is actually pushing it even more towards the hyper carry status.
That's true, though.
You take the Lucian off the board, you're pushing someone more towards, you know, the Kog'Maws and the Twitches and things like this. Caitlyn is still available, Ashe is still available, Varus, etc. But who knows?
And amusingly, it's more of a mid lane ban or a flex pick ban, because you take it as the first pick on red side, and we've already seen in solo queue especially, it's been pretty much a staple there. Now there is a hyper carry ban. Kog'Maw is off the board. That has been Mystic's side of the coin. It feels like players are either Kog'Maws or Twitches. You need at least one in your champion pool, and he's been on the Kog'Maw side of things.
And in Korea, it has been much more about the Twitch, which will still be available here for Bang if he wants to go for it.
And he'll select it, you would imagine, as a denial, but for now they will at minimum flash the pick to be considered.
Locked in.
It is locked in on the side of SKT, and they have to go kind of a different way on the side of WE. Still a lot of chances, potential flexes from WE, although this would be pretty damn standard if they go with the Gragas.
957 will have a pretty big way to get in if they get to that late game. We've seen quite an effective Gragas. Once he gets tanky, almost unstoppable, but he is against that Ivern, that stop comp, and a tidal wave. What does SKT finish it out with here?
And I mean, while Gragas is a great pick for the rest of this comp to round it out, you're picking it into Huni's Kennen, which is going to be so hard for him. It's so easy to itemize into Blade of the Rune King, Wit's End, and dominate that 1v1 in the split push. So that is certainly a concern, and Orianna works even more so into this shield comp. You essentially have this kind of 4-1 composition that SKT has crafted that I think is going to be very powerful, and it could be tough for WE to match up in side lanes as we get later in the game.
It just feels like SKT got the crown jewel with the Twitch, and the consolation prize of the Caitlyn, given what was already selected, really does feel like a runners-up medal. It does feel that they've been outdrafted in terms of hyper carries, just because, again, Mystic will have to deal with Caitlyn's famous drop-off in the mid-game. It feels like the timings will be there, but they will be pretty split timings for WE, whereas SKT have split push timings. They have Orianna as well to be a backup damage threat. Feels like SKT have all the gears.
I definitely agree. One thing going for WE, though, is if they can push a laning advantage in a 2v2. I definitely do take Caitlyn over Twitch in that straight-up 2v2 laning phase. I think that can be be powerful. I know you're smiling at me. I know it's Bang and Wolf here.
That's what I take, baby. I take Bang and Wolf.
But I mean, that's you have to look at the champions that they're playing and the advantages that they can get.
Yep.
Of course, they're going up against SKT, but you have to play with nameplates off. You have to know your composition strengths and weaknesses and play around them.
All right, we are about to get on to the Rift. WE versus SKT here, our final game of day 2 group stages. We've had some fast games, long games, but definitely a lot of kills in our games across the board as teams have been trying to figure each other out, size each other up for what is in the days to come.
Even though these are two legendary organizations, they have never faced ever since Faker debuted. So the traditional SK Telecom lineup has never faced Team World Elite, because the moment that the LCS, the LCK, and all those systems came around in 2013, WE had already started their descent. So this is in very much, in terms of orgs, a dream match that we've been denied for many years.
Well, you're not dreaming anymore, Papa Smithy. I can pinch you, but I won't. We're in the game. And we are about to light things up. The crowd is ready. I'm surprised we still have a roof on the arena here as we get in. 2-1 WE versus 3-0 SKT.
This is actually where they killed Faker off last time. So the blind Karma Q, they're hoping that Faker is actually waiting here. So this was a research level 1 that they were trying to pull off and capitalize on from earlier in the day.
And I think research is an important thing to touch on now that the action is largely dissipated, because it feels like SKT's level 1s have been very defensive consistently. The defensive fan, it feels like my read on metas is whenever the meta shifts, everyone just fans out. Because I don't know what the meta is. This is the most defensive, the most a percentage play, whereas SKT, you know, famous for invading, getting information, very little information gained with the defensive ban.
I do agree, but that said, I think this is the most risk-averse strategy that you can take. And when you are the best team, you are probably willing to just go kind of just even on that. You know, you don't necessarily need to do anything too crazy. One thing a little bit interesting here to me is actually Faker taking the cleanse. There's not really like a super obvious reason that you would need it here, in my opinion. Yes, there's things like empowered Bola and you know there's the Karma Root and so on, but it's not like you're playing against Elise Ashe or something where you need it. So I'm a bit surprised to see Faker actually going for this.
I mean, you think about few edge cases, like you say, is WE running on the red buff actually and not going for the full complete on the Raptors.
Yeah, so what they did is they actually did a big leash on the to get level 2 off the little Raptors, go to the red, complete the big one, and this is actually a double camp leash where they're going to kind of springboard this Rengar into a much faster early couple levels, which may allow him to perhaps contest Peanut.
Now, Peanut's done some interesting stuff himself. He hasn't used his smite. He prepped his blue and also his Gromp and then recalled at level 1. So no camp was taken. So he's got no experience, of course. As Ivern, he can get a very fast level 2. But it feels like Peanut, with the information he's gained from knowing that Mystic and Ben were out of lane for a while, has instantly adjusted his path to try to not lose camps.
An instant hit on red there as he meets up with it. Bit of an invade. We'll see Condi in the jungle, so they have knowledge of where he is, and this makes it a little easier for Peanut to make his run.
Maybe this is just because, again, they didn't get information at level 1, and they're just trying to counter in terms of getting some information about pathing. They now do have that information, but for someone to not take any camps and back is surprising to say the least.
Yeah, it's extremely atypical, especially because Rengar can do a very conservative clear where he can go and just take out all his own side camps. You don't have to invade, you don't have to do anything too risky, and Condi is moving up towards the top, but I mean, he has been spotted out by that earlier ward. Hooney's just sticking around anyway.
He has the wave, can play the brush to the top side, just kind of wasting Condi's time. Nicely done at that.
And now at this point, of course, you get the greedy side of the coin with Peanut, because of course, once he recalled, he prepped 3 camps, recalled, and then just clears camps in a line because the passive has started to be applied. So he still will have level 4 hilariously early, such as the way of the Ivern, but this is the sort of thing where you wonder if he will ever pass like that again, because of course, very exploitable going for such a greedy clear.
Yeah, and I mean, if Rengar went straight to his red, then Peanut's wandering into the jungle as a level 1 Ivern. Yeah, good luck.
I guess the question mark then becomes, would a Rengar go over to the red? Is this just the next level mind game, or is Peanut making mistakes? That part is certainly not clear.
Waiting for that wave to thin out just a little bit. Root call over the wall, can get 2 stun on. They can get a little bit more. The second follow-up. The 957 gets out with 112 HP. He's safe, but bot lane's taking a bit of fire here. Ben could be going down, calling the summoner heal, and if Ben can get closer, they do not have to, and a good trade back with a trap for Mystic.
That top lane gank was pretty ambitious. The wave is pushing towards Hooney, so this is going to be problematic for 957 regardless, but the fact that they commit double flash on a Gragas who is extremely tanky, even just with that W and the additional healing from your passive, is pretty surprising to me.
I mean, I understand the gank path. You know, he's got the boost mobility. He cleared all his camps. He wanted to make something happen. But as you say, leading with the flash when 957 was already moving back, kiting back defensively, was optimistic, I guess is the broadcast-sensitive way of saying it.
I like it, I like it. Mystic and Ben still going hard in the bot lane. They have Ignite. Exhaust is down. The kill pressure rises for them to try and make a move on Bang and Wolf, but here is Peanut towards bot side.
And you also have to remember, Bang started with a longsword 3-pot. He's it through all his potions, so this is where you start to become more vulnerable in this 2v2 stage. That said, Peanut hasn't been spotted out for a while, but if Mystic and Ben could actually get a straight-up fight, they have summoner advantage, and they are going to have the sustain advantage here too.
Speaking of starting items, Hooney went very confident starting with Cull, which can certainly be an option. Usually it's the Doran's Blade into Cull as the more safe side, but clearly not respecting the Gragas trading potential, and just melee versus range, predictably, already has a pretty comfortable CS advantage.
Remember, Hooney has no flash, and they could go for this. Okay, the E is now down. If he walks back up to the wave, I expect to see commit here from WE.
Now, Control Ward was a really big commitment of its own. This is basically saying, hey, I've got my jungler up top, so Hooney has been largely respectable.
Nice dodge. Thundering Shuriken back to say knew what was going on, but as you were saying, the control word may be giving up a bit too much of the aggression. Ben moving forward, still trying to work off this exhaust down, but
Wolf
able to sustain up. One more headshot, another one coming in. Wolf's gonna get the summoner heal from Bang, stays alive.
Actually split targeting there. Mystic started off on Bang and they used the Ignite on Wolf, then he swapped over. Had Mystic committed to the kill on Wolf from the start, they surely would have had the first blood there, but either way, they do get the 2v2 advantage, and this is what I was looking for from WE's bot lane.
Yeah, playing to their lanes, as you say, playing to the picks. It's just the one part where they really did have supremacy in terms of early lane trading. A lot of tools used by SKT, everything down. Not the flash on Bang, but as you say, you'll wonder what could have been, because it probably should have been first blood in 2v2 laning.
This may be first blood though, as Huni has no flash and Rengar's here.
Right back, not empowered, can only slow him up, but it's gonna be enough. First blood to 957.
So well orchestrated by 957. He's waiting in the brush, hits the perfect ultimate, able to get in front of Huni, so there's no way for him to rush out of there. And very well played by WE, punishing the over-aggression from SKT in that earlier top lane gank.
Exactly, investing your flash aggressively means that you can certainly be taking down Condi very fast, farming till level 6. Not quite sub 6 minutes, but certainly there, but every skill shot registers exactly as needed. Beautiful stuff from World Elite, and so far I still remain to be convinced by the Ivern on the side of SKT, and specifically Peanut, whereas WE looking clean in the early game like they did earlier today.
I definitely agree, but you know, with the advantages that Huni had, this is kind of just pulling things closer. This is not blowing top lane wide open, and unless Condi is going to continuously go up there, Huni will win this 1v1. So despite the first blood going over to Gragas, this is kind of more of a stopgap than really blowing this matchup wide open.
I mean, he had so much CS already, the bilge water towards the Blade of the Ruin King is completed for Huni, so item timing to that point, certainly pretty happy. Speaking of happy, Frake will get his first blue buff of the game.
They're already starting to focus that top side to make sure Huni is getting exactly what you say. No actual wards go in when they steal the blue, but Faker now up a bit, and we'll see if they can defend theirs as it comes up shortly.
The other thing I really do love is the actual pairing of a ranged top laner with an Ivern on red side. When you do this, you can donate red buffs over to your top laner over and over, and that is ridiculously good for Kennen, but here comes SKT. They want to try to contest this blue buff.
Very early pings. Faker and the team knew it was happening right away. Shie just missing the bubble. Condi in a dangerous spot. It looks like they have to give this one up. They get all the little escapes that they need, but can they continue to leave this? Shockwave forces the flash onto Condi and to Ben.
Double flash, certainly a good reward there. They didn't lose their blue buff either because the timing was on point on the rest of the SKT team collapsing. So a lot of pressure going to be relieved in bot lane. It's going to be very helpful there, as no longer have to expect the flash ignite. Returning to bot lane, the trades, of course, will continue.
Remember now, it's Ben without that flash, so this is something that could be capitalized on. You know, as Wolf gets 6, if Peanut wants to come down, the Lulu could be easy pickings, but looks like Peanut wants to go upside, grab that red buff, look for it to go over to the Kennen to really start to abuse this matchup, and I think it's such a strong pairing.
Ideal timing-wise would be after he shopped and got his Cull purchase in. He's only 15 CS away from that, but efficiency of the pathing from the Ivern is more important, so asymmetrical maps certainly will be helping out SKT in this particular regard. So returns to top lane, and 957 won't be able to go the Budget Rod of Ages, the triple Doran's Ring. He is halted in many ways, and build path is always a bit more frustrating when you're dealing with physical damage, because Spirit Visage, of course, has so much double dipping for the tank rugs.
I agree, and you know, Huni's itemization is so straightforward and so easy against the Gragas. Blade of the Ruin King, Wit's End, both incredibly powerful against this guy. And mostly what he is going to want to do is just build for the 1v1. It's not as much about the team fight here for Huni on this Kennen. 957 doesn't have the luxury of just building for a pure 1v1.
You think of the shielding on the side of SKT to empower Bang, but also its disengage, also its utility to get them away from a hard engage like the Rengar ult. So there is just a lot of safety.
Setting a trap here.
Oh, nice flash from Peanut. Dodges the empowered Bola from Condi. But they do get that out. So Peanut, we see continuously being pressured on this Ivern jungler, where he's usually one delivering that medicine.
And Condi does have his ultimate up now. They did not expend that to actually blow the summoner. So they are looking here on the bot side. They want to try to collapse and perhaps push down this early first turret.
They have great wards. They'd see Faker coming right across the blue if they were a 2.
As you
Condi's
say,
going to be hanging in the jungle. We'll see if they engage.
Responding.
they'll be found at every possible pathing, and 957 has an excellent teleport ward. Knowledge there for SKT. There is that teleport.
Sometimes you got to wonder if it took too long to engage. Tidal Wave comes out.
He stopped the TP.
Wild Growth on, and Bang is going to get the damage from Condi. He goes roar on him with the empowered, and now Bang's going to get himself killed by minions. That kill
Faker
goes over to
no
Bang, but
flash.
he goes down as well. And now Faker coming in onto Xie. Will they be able to get the kill? Mystic and Condi seem like they make it out. Great minion wave to help them, and they may be able to get a few shots onto this to make it a 1-for-1. First turret trade.
The thing you kind of give up when you go for the Ivern is a lot of these skirmishes, you're going to be lower damage, you're going to be unable to turn fights. That's certainly on Lee Sin and other picks Peanut will be able to do. Still, they posture pretty aggressively, and SKT do lose out.
Yeah, and until you would have that Twitch at a strong point where you just keeping him alive is enabling him to really crush people down, then you're not worth as much in these fights. And I think WE making a good play here with the Rengar ultimate up, summoners down, they're able to force, and this is Huni stopping with the ultimate, I do believe, on 957's TP, and is able to just walk right out too.
Doesn't have to commit his flash either, or did use it afterwards, as you can see at the bottom of the tooltip. But yeah, Peanut is on the utilities, not able to get in and skirmish. Baker is turned on, doesn't fall, but couldn't get into the main lines either, so it's not play the Rune King, it's not really the damage timings yet for Bang, and SKT lose a couple of skirmishes in a row.
Yeah, despite this being the Bang Wolf bot lane, Ben and Mystic are matching up and more than enough for the challenge so far. Heavily ahead in farm, they knock down first turret. They can start to rotate around, and that means that Gragas gets out of this terrible matchup in the 1v1 against the Kennen here too. So a lot of wins for WE, and they're putting together a lot of the pieces that they would need to for a possible win.
I mean, not often are teams in first rotation over SKT dictating lane assignments, but when you take the bot lane turret first and can kind of try to exploit the Kennen, who now has to rotate down to the bot lane, you're on the front foot, you're allowed to open up gold, you get access to extra minion waves, and WE, the first team to have a pretty good gold lead. Again, only a couple of thousand, but it's the ordered fashion, it's the fact that there hasn't been any sidesteps that are really exciting if you're a WE fan.
Speak about that access to extra minion waves. We also have to remember teleport on Xie and
the all-in.
957 if they want to play a side lane. Here, the side lane on top.
Condi with the
Played
Rengar
by
ultimate,
Bang.
he's gonna be here.
Mystic gets out. Ben and Condi on the backside, and the ultimate definitely makes SKT think twice. Wild Growth on two. Bang and Wolf just coming out of a fight. Don't have the summoners to keep going, and Condi's in front. Wolf goes down. He should be able to make it out alive, as the Ivern still not doing enough to impact. And now Bang trying to get into the brush, use the hide with Faker. And the Shockwave could come in. The turnaround, no kill to hit. As the Shockwave is held, they are able to get one now. Shockwave goes to Mystic, and the fight follows up as SKT was waiting for it.
TPing on, it does cancel, was TPing onto Daisy, so backs away. Flash auto attack, enough to get the kill. Speaking of flashes.
Whoa, Xie does not want to stop. The blue buff is there to continue the damage forward, and Bang's not going to be the one to go down. Can they guess it? Yes, they can. Ben picks that one up, and bot lane is a fight between Huni and 957 that's going nowhere.
And so far, Condi has been more than a match for Peanut in this game. He has been in the right place at the right time, able to respond with that Rengar ultimate, comes crashing in, using that Lulu Rengar combo, and picking up some more kills. WE is really playing strong in this game.
And all that SKT really has to show for the early game is the CS advantage for Huni on the Kennen. Of course, countered by a massive CS advantage for Mystic over Bang. Bang opens up, but he's a level behind. He hasn't been able to get anything going in the laning phase. Basically goes 50-50 with the laning trades, but the moment the Rengar ult was popped and the Wombo was there, SKT were on the back foot.
Peanut again trying in mid, still playing a decent Ivern, just not having the Peanut impact we're used to. As he gets himself back 1-0 and 2, as he helps the team control some of the lanes here, and Faker goes to the top to start dropping these turrets.
And to be clear, SKT is not in trouble by any means in this game just yet. They have an extremely well scaling composition. They have side lane advantage later in the game. They have the stronger hyper carry. So they have a lot going for them. It's just that WE is really making them work and keeping this game very, very close. It's anyone's game.
And making them work is not something you can really
Rengar ultimate coming up for Faker.
Oh, he is getting pinched on this one. Ball to the top side. Death comes from the bottom as Condi picks up another one. 3-1-1. 957 in a troublesome situation on the bot. Could he zero out? Bang gets himself to the turret. Bang takes 2 shots. Heated up. And now WE 957 tries to dance around, but he is danced down by SKT.
Greedy pathing on both sides is going to be rewarded with turrets. So it's a 1-for-1 trade. Be more gold going globally on the side of SKT with 3 people attacking, although WE going to walk up as well.
And SKT plays so well around their opponent's cooldowns. They knew that 957 had no Gragas ultimate in the mid lane, so there's no real way for him to ever turn around this dive. And here's Huni in on Shie, as we miss this kill.
Yep.
Just the auto attacks, of course. Only thing to talk about in that particular regard. I still wipe away some tears for AP Kennen, but Huni now has the red buff. He's going to free auto attack on the mid lane turret. This would be a bonus objective as SKT are dividing and conquering, taking the Drake at the same time.
And Faker's coming back from base, so they're doing this as WE is just giving them way too much personal room, and Huni finally has to back, but now that mid is prepped. Faker just took down top, so SKT, while they were on the back foot from Condi, found another way around. They start working around their opponents.
And it's all educated guesses. You know, we've talked a lot and criticized teams. I know you yesterday were talking about Flash was looking for the perfect Baron. SKT don't have perfect information to be taking both mid lane turret and a Drake while their Orianna isn't there. It sounds like a comical amount of things that aren't there.
Right.
But they try and test their limits. They have some information, and they kind of get the benefit of actually making those aggressive plays and that they could always pull away from if they needed to.
And I think one of the things that SK does better than almost anyone is play the percentages. If this is a high percentage play, they will go for it. It doesn't have to be 100%. If it's a 70% chance, they're always going to go for it. If it's a 60% chance, they believe in their outplay ability to make these things happen.
If SKT was a poker team, they would be tight aggressive, whereas we've seen too many tight people folding throughout the course of this tournament, and the aggressive side is what SKT have needed to actually find any sort of a lead, because WE have mostly been on the front foot.
They never fold any pair. Bang, Wolf, Faker, bang, Peanut, Faker, full house of the whole team. SKT's going in.
I mean, it looks like it's been looking like, as you say, a royal flush for a lot of this season. KT fans certainly depressed about that.
I think KT fans had a lot of things to be depressed about this season.
The suffering is real, Azael.
18 minutes in, 957 gets the Shockwave, Tidal Wave to follow up as well. And the root caller onto Mystic. They've been hit with just about everything, but the crowd control wears off, and they see through the fog, and it clears. The fight is over as well, but a lot of summoners and ults blown to the side of SKT. Condi goes in on the Faker. Oh, empowered under the turret. Condi taking damage, just gets out of range, but he still goes down to bang. Peanut's going to be the next one up, and they cut the tree down right in front of his team.
2-for-1 trade for WE, but Wolf on point with these bubbles is allowing SKT to get something back in this. Huni is shoving bottom. They know they can't defend, so they're going to sacrifice the turret. The question is, can WE go for 2 right here?
And the tight, aggressive stuff we were talking about can be exploited, and in this case, Kennen was not teleporting. Kennen was committed to bot lane. You can't always have the royal flush, and this time WE do punish SKT for the overstay around their mid lane turret.
Boom. No bluff from WE. They go hard on mid. Now all the outer turrets are down. They can still protect mid, but they can move that line forward, use this speed, and use Condi to get into the jungle. We'll see this fight one more time.
At the end of the day, they have information coming up in a second about the Kennen, but this is focusing on the engage from SKT. They try to get as much damage as possible. They have to respect Condi, because it's clear from this that Huni was at no point committing to coming to mid lane.
And I mean, the bubble pushing Mystic back there gives them some confidence to stick around, and then another great bubble here from Wolf onto Condi at least gets them 1 kill in what could have been a pretty bad fight.
Faker with the hula hoop on that particular ultimate.
Turns out he can't hit them all.
Let's play a champion of all time, doesn't hit every ult. Maybe Faker isn't always cracked up to me. I'm allowed to say that on the screen.
Oh, okay, okay.
If you guys said,
right.
Oh boy, Red will be mad.
Right. Let's
Front
delete
page,
my Twitter
front page
feed.
right away.
Just about 1,000 gold lead here. A little over, obviously, for WE, but that means SKT is very much in this and almost in the lead as they press right on to WE on their side of the base. They have the map, they have the wards pushing forward, and what WE was able to place forward has now been cleared.
As Huni with the Rift Herald buff, that it gives him even more side lane advantage, but I'm a little bit surprised to see him going for the Hurricane. It does have more pushing power, but it's not as strong in the 1v1 against the Gragas as that Wits End.
And it's just really interesting because it only does one thing. It pushes. Push is super good. I guess if you're free hitting a team fight for some reason, it's good. But it's basically a pushing build. And it's also not even pretending that he wants to show up into a team fight. So it gives so much information about what SKT and specifically Huni are trying to do that it is workable. And it does mean that 957, it's going to be a lot about basically 957 Shia holding their teleports, because they have double teleport down. Huni's taking turrets damn fast.
Thankfully for WE, they at least do have the double teleport that gives them more options to actually answer this and wave clear these side lanes. You know, they can rotate their mid laner to bot if the TP is on cooldown for 957.
Kale's Crucible and that Redemption up for Peanut first. Faker with the cleanse as well. They're focusing a lot of that CC break. A good flash on the Bola and a powered one just to the left. Can Faker have what it takes? Finally gets taken down. 5's enough. 4's enough.
I mean, it's a long lane and mid lane when you don't have an outer turret as Orianna, one of those champions that can really have problems with good lane assignments. Certainly can't go bot with how pushed it was. Top lane was where Bang and Wolf were. Yep. Nowhere good for Faker to be standing. And coming back to it wasn't Mikhail's rush, so clearly they're aware that Faker can be picked, but Peanut not close enough, and it means the Orianna's a free kill.
Few prep shots on the turret before the minion wave makes it in. Daisy down, so they don't have much pressure to siege back at WE, and Mystic staying in a great range with Ben there on his hip. Looks like they'll get a few bits of damage on this turret, but still protect their mid as 957 is bot, holding off Huni.
The interactions with Ivern and actually the team of WE are pretty comical because Caitlyn can use the Ivern brushes for extra headshots, and the Rengar gets a free jump out of them too. So misplaced brushes actually punish you a fair bit. If you drop a brush line, then retreat from it, it's giving Rengar a free way to chase.
Coming back also to the itemization, you can see 957's actually winning health trades with a Rift Herald buffed cannon, which lets you know that definitely the itemization hasn't been focused on taking down 957. He'll back away, but remember the picks that we're seeing consistently onto Faker, it feels like one person from SKT is dying every 3 minutes, aren't translating to objectives. And speaking of objectives, the second Drake spawn the game's an Inferno. SKT have a lot of damage as they're rushing.
WE is actually moving up to Baron. There's pings up there. Does not look like they have the confidence to actually start it, but now they are going to as the TP comes in.
It's so risky. They have a very low damage and they want to turn around from the Baron, though, you'd have to think.
They didn't also see that ward in the back of the pit. Their pink ward is too far up, so they didn't know that SKT had vision, and SKT is here to contest. Huni TPing in.
Peanut on the side, looking to throw Daisy in, flashes in for this one. Peanut steals the Baron, and now the fight from SKT to WE. 957 looking to separate it, but he's already used the ultimate, and Daisy now splits the teams. His first hits are going to be the ones that counted Condi and Shie, forced to flash out of the pit. 957 in the front. Mystic has shots from the side, but he's not putting in any damage just yet. As SKT finds the way into the fight, it's straight in, and Condi now jumping onto Huni, could be the one they attack, as Huni, one hit from going down. Ben picks that one up in a very scattered fight that seems to not be over.
They need to keep on to Mystic, otherwise the formation and the brush means that Mystic may be able to turn a fight if group. They're not. Peanut does this so often, mechanics on point, picking up the steal on the Baron. And speaking of mechanics, you move that control ward an inch forward, and that play can never happen.
That is the biggest deal. It's a misplaced pink ward, something that should have never happened from WE. They rushed it because they thought the pit was clear, and that pink ward, if that is a little bit up, Peanut has no vision, cannot make this happen, and WE with the Baron here perhaps has their way in to close this game.
And you have to be certain, again, we've used that poker analogy a lot, but you cannot afford to make this mistake when your comp is actually a slow one to take Baron. It's Karma mid lane. It isn't going to be able to rush down. You need the certainty that there are no wards there. And as you say, Zale, that might be the difference between a victory and a loss for Team WE.
You don't get to make a lot of mistakes against SKT, and although WE, team fought this relatively well, and they do get the 1-for-0 kill, it's still Baron on 4 mid lane turret for SKT, and you have Baron buff now on the split push advantage, Kenneth, which really is going to unlock him to start knocking down turrets.
They're able to still pick up their blue, denying what should be SKT's resources at this point. WE could use it for a little bit more wave clear. Things are going to get tough. Ardent Sensor built up on Ben, trying to get Mystic going even more. Condi's still with the ability to make plays, but SKT is chomping down so hard right now that the plays are, if you will, unmakeable.
But the game is actually being played on the minimap. It's the Cannon and the bot lane who now even has
They're all collapsing. They're looking for Huni.
Mallet and also the Hurricane. You're right, they are collapsing. But now not respecting it at all as Huni. Here comes the cavalry for WE, but they're kind of split between two decisions and they choose to back away.
Yeah, and it looked like WE did not know where the rest of SKT was, and with them missing off the map, they gave them the respect, perhaps too much respect, that they would be in position and that Huni wouldn't be that far out without defense.
But it's so comical when you overchase for a single kill and you lose towers on the other side to Baron. will have to back away for now, as this is where the action is at least.
Bang looking for a flank. He's going to try to cut people off as they come to rotate over. And Hootie with the solo kill on bot lane.
Used it all, Blade of the Rune King and the kill. He's going to get hit by Condi now as the top lane pressure happens. Condi has to make this work, or he has to get back to defend the team.
He's already back up over half health from the minion wave.
SKT is just going to crack the base here. Let's see if Condi can do it.
If he locks him up enough, there it is. Had to get the Empowered in, got himself to safety. Hexdrinker gave him a little bit of help there on any of the electric surging. 10-7, 26 minutes in. SKT still making a lot of dents on the side of WE here.
But all these timings are piling up. Finally getting a laning focus item and a Baron buff. Gets the solo kill onto Xie and finally does get turned around as Xie just walks up. The crit, 2 crits actually surprise him, and he goes down before the Karma can shield again.
And that is actually so poorly played by Xie with Condi already making the roam down. You just have to wait for the Rengar to be there. Just do not let Huni run away. If he retreats, you move forward. If he comes forward, you retreat. And the Rengar comes, it's a free kill. Then you can actually collapse and get something done. So over-aggression there from Xie. No patience on the play, and he ends up giving up the kill.
Huni feeling great about his items. 500 gold into Elixir of Wrath as they start getting a little more power under their belts here. Couldn't get a full item, so he's just going to go and Elixir up.
It's still 3-item Caitlyn, though. You know, we talk about mid-game humps. That's over now when you have double Zeal and the Infinity Edge, and armor penetration is not of much value against the items that are built by SKT. So unchecked Mystic can still do a lot. Secret Agent 007 can really change a mind.
He certainly can. I mean, the fact that you pointed out there's not armor being built up, you can build the luxury items, go for pure DPS, and really shred through these guys despite the shields if left unchecked in a fight.
We saw at the Barons that he was left unchecked, but Bang coming in huge, doing over 1,500 HP to 2 members of WE. That means they have to turn tide, head back to base. And now they're going to go ahead 50 seconds onto the Drake if they even want it. The vision's going to be there for themselves.
Not the 4-1 you expect. It's Orianna split pushing the entire time, so WE didn't necessarily have to flash defensively in too many different ways. They knew that a full commit couldn't happen. Rengar ult just used for information. So SKT will back away, but they can continue to make these plays pretty consistently, and they do have a teleport advantage, at least for Huni over 957, so it might have to be Xie once again matching up to Kennen, which on first check and with the last recent example, didn't look so great.
Definitely didn't. I mean, I think he should be able to wave clear at least with the Karma Q spam, but he certainly has no business trying to take a 1v1, and WE is moving down here. They're going to be caught off guard.
That was faster than he would have expected. Peanut could be going down next. Redemption comes in. That was Wolves. And it looks like they're going to get themselves here to the bot lane. Good pressure here. Also blowing ultimates would help with a Baron in 1 minute as topside is being worked by Huni.
Yeah, meanwhile, At is definitely the sub-story here. Huni has those items and also the Glimpse of the Void. So these auto attacks gets almost completely dead. Although 957.
Knocked in. Could get the resolve in from Xie. Actually hits a minion. They're not going to get enough damage in. Mystic with the flash forward. Not the flash forward, sorry. Caliber Nat. There are the shots. Hits him with the barrel, and they drink him under the table. But the bot lane is still being hit by SKT as they're just putting so much on WE's plate.
This is the pressure play. This is the lose-lose that the best teams will force you
They're going to look for an engage perhaps here, though. Condi does have the ultimate. WE does not want to let them escape. They're trying to corral them. Condi is playing it slow.
Condi looking to get some stacks in. Uses the Q. Redemption for Bang to make sure nothing happens for him, as it looks like he's going to be able to get out alive. Condi very low, but Bang as well gets the shockwave, and that's the kill coming in for Faker. 957 over the wall. They're looking for the low health, but everything is getting away. This is changing the mentality of WE, making them go inches further and costing them members. However, 2 for 2.
And SKT make plays you wouldn't expect. Bang opening up in melee range on a Rengar, trusting his Orianna, trusting his Nami. Means they're able to eventually use the flash defensively on Bang after getting a beneficial trade. That is what separates SKT. Making the aggressive plays around out of mid lane turret and Drake just about 10 minutes ago. And then in scenarios like that, where if you don't go offensive, as you say, Azael, you get collapsed on.
Yeah, and I mean, it's recognizing also, look how far away Mystic is. This is a protect the AD carry comp. If the Caitlyn is not there, there is not threat on the rest of the members, and that gives SKT the confidence to open up on Xie again.
Great dissonance from Faker, giving them the range to get in room for a bubble, and Bang's kill. Another one for SKT.
And when the items come up onto Bang, it reminds me of that LCK final where you saw so often Bang opening up super aggressively on guys. He knows his damage output, goes back, adds on Infinity Edge, if you don't mind, and suddenly he doesn't respect anyone on the side of WE.
Yeah, I mean, if you get a good ultimate off with Twitch, now that you have the IE, a couple crits will shred through pretty much anyone in the backline.
And we were looking for gentlemen's agreements. Turned out the real gentleman's agreement was no one building armor. It's only a Sunfire Cape and a little bit of armor on 957. So we got two super high damage hypercarriers.
SKT forcing the Baron. Xie is dead, does have his TP. We could join the fight, but they're going to go for it.
Condi's in, looking to clear this ward, but he's getting himself the wild growth immediately. A lot is used in defense. Obviously, SKT will turn the fight. A kill on a Condi coming in from Bang. And the team gets quite an assist on that as they continue to rake up the gold. Not going to aggro back to full health. The minions are taking down the Nexus turrets in the base as SKT works around the map when they're not even there.
I mean, it's a win-win for SKT, even if they have to back off. If Xie TP's in, that means the second Nexus turret will likely also fall. So they have the pressure around the map. Now barreling down mid lane, not taking time to base because they already have big item completions and they can force down even more turrets.
I mean, Void Staff, Infinity Edge doesn't get much better, just slapping on a bit of extra attack damage. So whack out the Daisy, take another inhibitor turret. It goes down, all three down now for Wodley.
Inhibitor will fall quick. And not long for this world. They should just head to the top side and continue the minion wave. Actually, they're going to split it. They have all the power in the world, and they're trying to spread WE thin for any fight as they stand under the one Nexus turret.
The ults here. Any picks, the game probably ends. There goes down another inhibitor. Condi wants to go in. There's 957 as well. They have to make it happen.
They don't have wards behind him. This could be the entry. He's got to hit it. Bang gets the first knock, but he gets pushed to the side, and Condi's actually the front line with 957. They're the tanks. They go down the fastest. The hula hoop from Faker just for the show. Mystic, Ben, and Xie trying to make it to the base for Solace as SKT continue their dominance here on day 2 of the MSI group stage. They will stay undefeated as they take down WE.
Crowd hype is legendary. SKT 4-0. The early game certainly didn't go to plan. Debut on that Ivern, question marks for Peanut, but we know they can play other styles. They now win with the Ivern, and if you're preparing for SK Telecom tomorrow, you've got another pick to worry about.
Yeah, and Huni in the side lanes, I think he was so pivotal in this game for them, giving them the time to build up to this stage where Bang could take over. He drew so much pressure, so much attention, taking down turrets, getting solo kills, and Huni was a big star for me on SKT this game.
The ability to have a few sit back and the other few carry, as you said before, Azale. They really synergize well, and they know their role going into the game. It did look like Peanut kind of had a lackluster start, but it was his role. He knew he couldn't get in too much damage because that's the Iron.
And just SKT knew when they were strong, and they knew what were the calculated risks. There were a lot of calculated risks. There were a lot of calls that were made with incomplete information that, again, a lot of teams this tournament, especially the Flash Wolves, we put the microscope on them, have been reticent to make. But SKT make those value bets, make them work, and that actually allowed them to steady in the mid game. Because around 20 minutes, we were not sure who would be winning this game.
Yeah, definitely weren't. I also love the fact that SKT, when they get that Baron, despite Faker having enough for a full death cap, they know that the map pressure that they have already achieved is more important than him basing and resetting the map, allowing WE time to set up their defense, to push out waves. They never give you a chance to set yourself up, and they just push down and end the game.
And that's such a cool stat, because a death cap is such a big thing, but getting all your minion waves pushed up takes a lot of time. So you lose so much tempo backing that actually they gained a lot more with Faker sitting on 4,000 gold, which was quite a lot of the gold lead if you look at it.
Absolutely crazy game. Huni coming up with 28